In this video, I'm going to take you through Radicle CLI installation and usage on Windows operating system. But before we go further, let's look into what Radicle is. So Radicle is a decentralized code collaboration network built on open protocols, and it enables developers to collaborate on code without relying on trusted intermediaries. The Radicle network is a peer-to-peer network that is powered by seed nodes. That means there's no central server. Then there is also the Radicle CLI, which is a set of command line tools that allow developers to manage software and publish code securely on the Radicle network. Here are some of the characteristics of Radicle when you compare it with the other products and protocols. So Radicle is open source and it's distributed, and then there's also a CLI for it. So the only thing missing is the CI/CD, which is coming soon. The first step you're going to take to ensure you install Radicle CLI successfully is ensuring that you install the Windows subsystem for Linux. Then install a Linux distro on your WSL. Also ensure that you install the latest version of Ubuntu. If you have some of the oldest version of Ubuntu, like I was running Ubuntu 18.04, it's going to have SSH issues. Then confirm that you have the latest version of Git installed and the latest version of SSH. That's why I recommend installing any version of Ubuntu above 22, because it comes pre-installed with the latest version of OpenSSH that will be used when running most of the commands on the Radicle CLI. You're now set to install the Radicle CLI on your machine. So to do that, go to the Radicle website. You come across various installation procedures that are used on different operating systems. We'll go for the one that is used on Ubuntu. So the first thing you're going to do is download the package signing key, and then you're going to update your sources list with the Radicle repository by creating the registry file. When you're done, do sudo apt update to update the package list and install the Radicle CLI. The whole installation procedure can be found on the website. So once you're done, you run radauth to create your Radicle identity. You'd be required to key in your username and password. So since you already have an active profile, I wouldn't do that procedure here because I already did it earlier when I was installing the Radicle CLI. You can also check on the Radicle version by running rad. So I have my Radicle version is 0.61. Once your Radicle identity is created, you'll have access to your peer ID and your personal URL. So the next thing you're going to do is ensure that you have Visual Studio Code on your machine. Click on the bottom left side of Visual Studio Code to open the project on WSL. And then ensure that you have the remote WSL extension on Visual Studio Code. This extension allows you to get all the productivity of Windows while developing on Linux-based tools. So now our project that we built on Windows is on Ubuntu. Let's initialize the local project on Radicle by running rad init. Key in your passphrase and give your project a name and description that will appear on the Radicle repository. Now run rad push to push your project to the Radicle repository. I encountered an error stating SSH agent not found. If you come across such an error, run eval SSH agent s. Then do radauth. Once the Radicle key is added to the SSH agent and the signing key is configured in Git, do rad push. If everything is up to date, you'll get the option to choose from one of the seed nodes to publish your code. I chose the Pine Radicle Garden. When everything is in sync and the code is published on Radicle, you will get a URL which you can use to visit your repository.